3, 2, 1. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, on a beautiful evening here in El Paso, Texas. Today, guys, as always, co-host of the podcast, Mr. Misael, is here with us.
What it do?
Today, guys, we do not have a producer with us. We'll get into that right now. But we have special guest of the podcast. His name is Josh. Say what's up to the podcast, Josh.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey. Josh. Welcome, Josh. Welcome.
Hey.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Josh.
Thank you.
So this is episode number 55, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Make sure you guys go follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, rate, and review. So
Amazon Music too, guys.
yeah, Amazon Music.
Just tell Alexa, hey, Alexa, play Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast, and then you'll thank me later.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. That was an aggressive eye wink there, Misa. That was aggressive. I like that. So, Josh, go ahead and introduce yourself to the podcast real fast. Just tell the audience a little bit about who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Josh Ortiz, and I am a director at Texas Children's Hospital for a viral production corps. And so we basically make viruses. I live in Houston, Texas, and I know this guy from a while back, Misa.
There you go. We'll get into that, how you guys met each other. Thank you, number one, for being on the podcast today. We really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy life to come and sit down and chill with us.
Dude, we've been getting all these like smart guests on our podcast, and it makes me feel stupid.
No,
I should have gone to college.
Okay, so before we get the podcast off the ground, this is episode 55, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. There's a tradition, unlike any other, that we have to abide by. It's called the cracking of our celebratory beer.
All right.
And we have to do this each and every time. And it sounds a little like this. Yeah.
Mine's a twist.
All right.
There you go. Salute, everyone. If you're not
Josh.
drinking, it's okay. Salute to you. Thank you for being here. Before we get into this, guys, a little housekeeping issue we have to address. We have to give an RIP shout out to somebody, and it brings us great sadness. But I have to say RIP to a family friend, Johnny Heredia. He passed away recently, so let's all take a moment of silence for that, please. Okay, so quick. That was quick. We're not going to get into that. It's just an RIP moment I had to give. For the people who know him, you know him. Sad day. And we're sending our condolences from the podcast to him and his family. So before we get into this, like you said, you know Misa from back in the day, right? Can we get into that a little bit? How do you guys – because I can't fathom that somebody so smart as yourself would know a guy – like, this guy's smart. But he's not that smart, and I just want to know how you guys got.
You'd be surprised, bro.
Well, I mean, so I know him secondhand from my younger brother, and so my younger brother and Misa.
Junior, shout out to Junior, man. Elba.
Shout out to Elbanober, Iga Bobber,
Ilba Boner, whatever the name they give him back then.
Yeah. So we call him Junior just because he has my dad's name, and my dad's name is Ilbanober. But I know Misa through my little brother. But I'd say Misa and I became good friends after meeting up with my brother, and it's basically just like three dudes living on their own. And
yeah, it was
figuring everything out.
The time where I met Josh, it was a really hard time for us, all three of us, like living status. But those years were actually one of the most memorable years with these guys. I became friends with his brother Junior. He was a year younger than me through school, and I met Josh, but right off the bat, me and Josh didn't really get along all that well.
No, not at all.
And not at all. And I can't remember what or why or what, but I remember they were moving into a duplex one time, and they needed some help. So Junior asked me, "Hey man, come help me out." So I don't know what happened, but it ended up me and him like face to face, like looking and just yelling at each other. And first thing he did, I don't know if as you guys can see, this guy has like a very genius forehead. He needs a big forehead to get all that brain in him. And he's just like, yeah. And that's when his brother jumped in, and maybe 20 minutes later, dude, he just came up to me and he hugged me and he's like, "I'm sorry, bro. Like, that's not me. And you're my brother's best friend." And ever since then, man, we just became like brothers, dude. It was like I made another best friend that time. And a couple of weeks later, they let me move in with him. And yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And man, you're bringing up some memories, man. And it was just us basically trying to just survive on our own and figure out how we're going to
what's crazy? I think about a lot those times, dude. We were living in this little 2-bedroom duplex house, and me and his brother were still in high school. He just started college, and so we had no jobs. I had no job. Junior had no job, so his mom was helping us out by paying the rent and the utilities. But there's times where we didn't even have enough for food, or like the utilities didn't get paid on time, and so we all lived through all that together. He was going through college and all these books everywhere all the time. And one thing that I remember the most is like most of the mornings Josh would wake up and all you hear is and I was like, yeah, dude, no, and it's a Led Zeppelin. And all I can remember, it's like looking at my clock, it's 6:30 in the fucking morning, and this guy's just like, and then Junior, half asleep with his eyes still closed, would be like, like coming back, and I'm over here like, who the fuck did I move into? Like, where you guys from? And they're like, we're from Colombia, And I was like, what? Colombia? And then they had this family whistle.
All right, so let's backtrack because we just went a long way there. So why did you headbutt this guy?
Oh man, so honestly,
that was fine as fuck.
I was jealous because he was too fly. To be perfect,
he was too fly.
No, man, I'm trying to remember. I know we were moving in, and I think everyone was just angry, and it might have just been like either I like moved a couch too fast, and he like didn't keep up with me, so I got mad, or like. Or I think Misa like moved a box that I didn't want him to move. It was something really stupid, but
I can't even remember what it was, dude.
Yeah, we were like sleep deprived and just angry. I think all of us were just angry, and then it was one thing.
So the natural solution was to headbutt Misa,
and then that's when fists started flying, dude.
That's crazy.
And Junior's like 10 feet away yelling, "Stop!" He never jumped in. He's just all he did is like, "Stop, guys, stop! Think about the children."
All right. So Misa mentioned that you're originally from Colombia, right? Can you tell us a little bit about like where you grew up and like what it was like living there?
Yeah. So I was born in Colombia, and I lived there only until I was 3 years old. And so I guess those 3 years I don't remember too well. But we moved to Florida, and we lived in Florida for, a good period of time. I'd say until I was about 11 or 12. And then, but at 11 and 12, we moved back to Colombia, and I lived there till I was about 17.
5 years at that age. That's a big like cultural shock, no? Like coming, starting school and all that here at age 3, and then going back over there at 12.
No, it was.
Did you have to start working?
No. It was a cultural shock because I'm Colombian, but from 3 to 11, I like grew up in the United States. So like when I went back there,
you're American.
I'm el gringo.
Hey, they could tell, huh? You stood out over there, right?
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. I stood out. And so,
they're like, yo, this motherfucker.
Yeah, like this guy's a narc, and so like.
So it was like, nobody has that perfect English around here.
Exactly. They're like, I mean, and like my Spanish was, I think my Spanish was pretty good, but when a Colombian talks to me, they know I didn't like grow up there the entire time.
Yeah.
Like I have like an accent. I mean, when I talk to like people in El Paso, like Mexicans in El Paso, I don't think you guys can notice because the accent's just out of control. But in Colombia, I mean, Colombians know like my accent is like strange, and then especially now.
Well, I've always thought that like you and your brother, when I'd go over, and you guys would be speaking Spanish with your mom and stuff, they all had this accent, this Colombian accent.
Yeah,
thinking
exactly.
like, dude, like, am I safe here? Like, these guys related to Pablo Escobar or some shit? Like, what's going on?
No, not related to him. Yeah. So
Let's make that clear right now.
Yeah.
Let's establish that.
But yeah, I moved back when I was, like I said, 11, and then I did a lot of high school there, and I really loved my time in Colombia. I had a really good time. It's Colombia. It's a nice place.
What I want to know, dude, is like the difference food. Like when you're out there, to make you guys go like find your own food during lunch, or like was it shitty food like here? Like did you have to go hunting for your food over there? That's what I'm asking.
No, not at all. So,
bro, he wasn't living in like a third world country.
You are a pathetic loser.
My bad, fuck.
No, not at all. I'm actually pretty proud of Colombia because I mean when I moved when I was like 3, those were like some of the most violent years the country's had, and so when I moved back, it was still a little kind of tumultuous, but I mean Colombians have made a big improvement, especially on the whole drug dealing issue and stuff, and I think the country's kind of trying to come back from that, and it's left a bad reputation on Colombians, but I think we're doing a pretty good job now trying to change that.
Nice. Yeah, I have a friend that's Colombian. I actually call him Colombian. His name's Antonio Cifuentes. Shout out to him. He's a cool guy. He's one of my like friends from back in the day. But what I've been able to like identify with people from Colombia is they take a lot of pride in where they're from. They go to, they're proud to be Colombian, and it's something cool. And I think it's cool because like you guys realize like the progress the country has made, and you've seen it from like when you said it was like really violent to like how it progressed to something that's more modest and like more like Western in a way. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, you see it in all aspects of Colombia. I mean, even the industry has been, changing, and like it's starting to become, a little bit, modern, I'd say, but it's trying to get away from its like old reputation, which I think is really important for Colombians to not let that drag them down.
Hey, do you ever plan to go back anytime soon?
I do. I want to. I definitely do. I was going to try to go, to be perfectly honest, this year.
No.
But I mean,
but
Corona, and so I was really trying to go this year.
I mean, you still got family out there?
Mm-hmm. I still have family there, and there's specific parts of Colombia that I really want to visit, because like I said, I mean, the country has changed a lot, and so we used to not just have violence from like cartels, but we used to have violence from like the revolutionary groups there, and so parts of the country were like completely restricted and isolated from like Colombian citizens, but those parts are now like open because they've been dismantled and stuff, and so those are areas of the country that I would love to see.
Like stories like this, dude. It's just kind of like also with the bar that the guy that we had in our last episode before this one. It just makes you appreciate being born in America, knowing that there's all these issues going on in other countries that it's a life changer. Some people they move their whole life, their whole family outside of that area. It's just because it's not a place to live, and when stuff like this, stories like this come up, dude, I think to myself, like, dude, I'm so, even if it's El Paso next to Juarez, most dangerous place, I'm glad, you know, like I'm happy I don't have to move to another country.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. When you don't have cartels threatening your everyday life, it's kind of nice, you know. Breaking news.
It is.
Like, dude, chill, dude. I'll buy your drugs. Chill.
So when you were in Colombia, did you start playing soccer at all?
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big problem because I'm terrible at it. I know most Colombians are amazing. I'm not good at soccer.
Hey, well, it's because you grew up like mostly here, like kind of, you know, like so.
What they did a lot out there was swimming. I mean, you ended up joining like the polo team, right?
Yeah, so I did do a lot of swimming and water polo. Yeah, those mainly what I did during like middle school and high school was swimming and water polo.
That's all they did, dude.
Dude, water polo is kind of random. Like, was that like the thing to do over there? Was like that the only option? You know,
well, that's the only thing he was good at.
No, so yeah, it was more like that. I mean, I've always been a really good swimmer, and I've always loved swimming, and so I'm terrible at soccer. So someone tells me to like pass the ball, do like a light touch, I'll like launch the ball,
like yards and shit,
fucking field goal and shit.
Exactly, But I mean, in Colombia, we live next to they're like Olympic pools. They're kind of famous in Cali, and so they had like these after-school programs. And I signed up to go swimming, and then I saw a bunch of guys like tossing balls and nets and stuff in the water. And I'm like, what is that? And
if I can't use my feet, I'm gonna use my hands.
Exactly. And so, like I got really interested in what they were doing, and then I started playing water polo from there.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Have you ever played water polo?
No, I've seen it being played one time at like the UTEP rec, like at the rec pool, but I'd rather play basketball, dude. It's like the same thing. Almost.
I mean, I would want to try it.
Substantially harder to play water polo. Like,
that's what I was going to say. I could watch it and just watching it, like I was out of breath. Like, how do these guys stay floating the whole time? And then they push each other down and like try to drown each other. Like that sport should be illegal.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, dude.
No, we did. Man, I tried. It's funny. I tried a couple months ago. I did some drills in the pool. It was not a good idea. I mean, I'm so out of shape compared. But I tried. I pulled up the old like drills that we run. It's terrible.
No way. Hey, you know what's crazy is that I've seen that like even in those games they have like lifeguards. It's like these guys are professional swimmers and they got a lifeguard. That's the most useless job anybody has. A fucking lifeguard at a fucking polo game.
Yeah.
That's true. Unless they like hit their head on the bottom of the floor, then I guess. But
dude, you know how deep it is? How deep is it?
I know that's why
you didn't even
like very unlucky.
If you get all the way to the bottom, that means you're dead.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like 13 feet. Like at least in the pool that we had. So when I played in Florida, it was like around 13 feet or so.
That's crazy.
But, yeah, our team in Florida was really good, man.
I don't jump in anything deeper than 5 feet, bro.
Oh, what? Yeah.
So you've mentioned Florida a few times. Where in Florida did you actually spend time at?
So we lived in Miami. I'd say the place we spent most time was Central Florida. We lived in Orlando, Altamont Springs, Apopka, and like I'd say Orlando, but it's basically like Orlando's the city, but we lived in like the suburbs of Orlando.
Yeah,
just like that whole like Altamont and Apopka.
You ever go to Disney World?
Oh yeah, man. Honestly, I think I'm done with Disney for the rest.
Yeah, me too, bro. Disney's
Is it?
It is.
I don't want to spend like a whole week in Disney World.
It's because so since when you grow up in Florida, probably every Florida kid knows this. Like especially Central Florida, every field trip every year is like a Disney park. I mean, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. I had a great time going on those field trips, but it's like
ungrateful mother. That's all I'm thinking right now. It's like, dude, they don't even take us to Western Playland, dude. They take us to the fucking local library. Like, how the fuck? That's crazy, dude.
They take you to the fire station.
Yeah, they do. This is where your parents drop you off like, your babies.
You guys want to go see Mickey Mouse? Let's go.
And then this guy fucking Josh in the back of the bus. Fuck Mickey Mouse.
Exactly.
Hey, give us your best Mickey Mouse impression, bro.
That was a good one.
Let me see. All right.
Hold on. Obviously.
No, you guys are doing it.
Okay, go. Do it.
Dude, damn. That's impressive and creepy at the same time, man. Like, don't do that shit to your kid. That's gonna scar them. That's crazy.
Was that pretty good?
I can't even try and do it.
Hey, is Goofy a dog or a horse?
Oh, man.
I thought he was a dog.
That's what I thought.
I think he's a dog.
Okay.
He's like a mutt or something.
Yeah, I saw some shit on the internet that somebody was saying they were arguing he was a horse and not a dog. And I was like, bro, you guys have too much time on your hands to be arguing over this dumb shit. Like,
I mean, it is a good question if you think about it.
It is, dude, but who's really out there like, motherfucking Goofy is a
He's
dog,
a fucking
bro.
goat.
I need to prove this. I need to prove this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's great.
I do think he's a dog, man.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're all on the same page here. I don't know how we're out there. Okay, so eventually you ended up going to Baylor, right? Or UTEP first and then Baylor?
Yeah, UTEP first.
Okay.
I went to UTEP.
And this is why I'm still friends with him, dude. So I could be like, hey, what college you go to? I was like, none, dude. But my friend Josh, he went to Baylor School of Medicine. So
Vamos, my nurse. Yeah.
Picks up, baby. Let's go. Let's go, UTEP.
No, I always try to represent UTEP. I mean,
There you go. Good shit, dude.
Get a tattoo on your forehead, dude. You got enough space.
Right here, a little pick.
Little pick right there.
Actually, I'll put a pick like here, right here.
Hey, gangsta. Gang.
What did you go to UTEP to study?
So I did microbiology and I did minor in math and chemistry.
Jesus. Oh my God.
That sounds like I did really hard and then I did extremely hard. That's
right?
exactly
it's like, what's the hardest shit y'all got? I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take 3 of them. Go, please.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, so it's kind of weird that I ended up here because I didn't even know this was something I could do, to be honest. When I was younger, I mean, when you're good at school or you get good grades, I mean, every Hispanic person I know is like, "Vas a ser doctor," you know, like like they just push you to be like, you know, a doctor. And so, I mean, that's kind of what I went to UTEP for. I was like on an MD mind track. But I've never, I know it sounds bad, but I've never really cared for that. I mean, I just did it because I didn't know what else to do.
Because you were good at it.
Yeah. And so, but that part of me kind of, I changed that once I went to college. But I changed it about like halfway through my first year. I had a really good class with one of my favorite professors still. His name is Dr. Herman Rosas Acosta. I think he's still at UTEP. And he does research on influenza. And so when he was giving like the class, he would tell us, oh, I do all this research and, you know, like if like, and he showed us all his slides and all his data and I was like, man, that's cool. And so I just sent him an email saying, hey, I think your research is really cool. You mind if I ever just like watch it? Or I didn't even know how to approach him. I was just like, I don't even know.
Just go stand next to you.
and then he was super open and like super friendly and said like, of course. And then I went and like I didn't even know I could volunteer, and so I volunteered and I started working and I saw everything you could do with research. I've always liked engineering, but I feel like I was like, man, I don't want to change majors and all that stuff. And so I feel like research for me brought the best of both worlds because I could engineer genetic material to whatever I wanted it to be. And Dr. Rosas was like one of the first people that showed that to me. And so after that, I kind of fell in love with it because I just looked at jeans like Lego pieces. And
That's crazy. I remember during your time at UTEP, it came a time where like after I moved out and then we moved on from that
house.
Maybe like a year or two later, the roles changed. I got a call from Josh, and he's asked, just like how I had asked them, like, yo, bro, is it cool if I go stay with you for a couple of days? And so he gave me a call asking, hey, man, is it cool if I go stay with you? And I was living with my buddy Omar and Carlos at this big house at the time. And without hesitation, I was like, dude, yes, bro. I got this master bedroom. You could fucking sleep with me, And so during that time, I remember, showing up with my buddy Omar, drunk as fuck, dude, or faded, and then we walk into my room, and this guy's like sitting on the middle of my bed with all these papers and books like scattered all over my bed, and he has this like poncho over him, like, and you could tell he hasn't slept in like 4 days, and then he just looks up at us like. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, dude, I'm studying. Like, what are you studying about? And we sit down. He's like, I'm studying about studying. And that just blew our mind. He gave us like a whole hour lecture of like how shit works in your brain. And at that time, me and my buddy were like, dude, this shit makes perfect sense. Wake up the next morning like, yo, dude, what the fuck was Josh talking about? And we talked to Josh. And during that time, also Josh was like, dude, you know how much like dangerous shit they got in that lab? It's like, what kind of dangerous shit? Like, bro, you didn't even want to know.
I know.
And that right there, I was like, dude, this guy's interesting, dude. Like, this guy's going to college and like going into labs, and I don't know what they got any cocaine in there? And they're like, dude, they got tons of it. Like, what?
No, I mean, there are labs that have cocaine. They do those like cocaine studies on rats and stuff. And so,
dude, call me up, dog.
Nah, just kidding. Hey, he'll be your rat, dude. You're a live rat.
Exactly.
In human form.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dude.
No, man, Misa, the time he's talking about was a really rough time during it was like I was almost finishing college. But right before I called Misa, I had been living in my car for like 3 months, man. It was hard.
Bad. Yeah, it was hard. And that car was a shitty ass car, dude. I'm telling you right now.
It was Chevy Cobalt, dude. It was like
Cobalt that everybody had.
The winter months of
I have a fucking Chevy Cobalt.
That's what I'm saying.
I got the 4-door one though. At least got that space.
It was during for me the worst part was it was during the winter months of El Paso, which it got really cold in that car.
So tell me like what living in the car, like where do you go sleep at night? Like do you have to go find like a parking space somewhere? Like how does that work?
So they probably can't get me anywhere, so whatever. But
yeah, dude, the fucking statute of limitations is passed. Yeah, don't worry about it. Nobody listens to this podcast anyway.
Yeah, only 100 people a day.
So it was basically the UTEP parking garage. That was my home. And so I'd park all the way in like the back, and then like the windows from the car were tinted. And I had a black blanket, and I would just put it over me. And then I'd go use I was still a student the whole time. And so I would just go use the rec center to take showers and stuff.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's smart way to do it.
Nobody knew. And then I'd just work out in the morning. And so like I'd just work out, take a shower, and then go.
But look at you now. Josh, this is why I'm so happy to seeing you and what you're doing right now from those situations. Because, I mean, I knew you were going through just how I was going through a hard time when I moved in with you guys. Like you were going through a hard time too. So, but it was fun, dude. It was some good times. It was some shitty times during that time. Fucking Josh. Yeah. Josh started a prank war with me and his brother.
Oh my gosh, dude! I remember
while he was living there, and it didn't end up really well for Josh. For sure. No. Josh probably got us once, and that was we were having breakfast over at Village Inn one time, and it was me and his brother Junior and Josh and his friend. I think it was John Perkins.
Oh, yeah,
Persons, yeah, and we're eating, and then we had this whole thing like if you pass gas, we have to yell like doorknob, and you have to run and touch a doorknob before we beat the shit out of you, and. He planned this shit. He knew that he was going to fucking pass gas. So he paid his bill. Him and his buddy paid his bill. And then he got up and he passed gas. And then all we did, me and Junior were like, doorknob. And then we fucking ran out. This dude got in the car with his friend and took off without us. And he was all right. And we're thinking like, he's just fucking with us. He'll be back. Dude, he never came back. We called him and nothing. And he's like, no, fuck you guys. You guys are going to beat me up. You know, like, nah, he never came back. We walked from Mesa Village Inn all the way to Belvedere because this guy never came back to pick us up. So we had a lot of planning on the way over there, dude. And we went from that whole water with flour on his ass and putting like rice on his car and shit and locking him in the balcony and shooting him with BB guns. And it got out of hand after a while, dude. That shit got crazy.
Oh my gosh, dude, yeah. But I mean, I left you guys there. So, I mean, I knew it was coming, dude. Because like you and Junior, y'all are crazy, dude.
It was good times, though, dude. It was good times. I'm just glad this guy didn't like make up a virus and get me sick or something just to get me back. Look at him. It's like, or did I?
He's like, you never know. He's like, you don't know what I'm working on right now.
You know why your left testicle is smaller now? No, you don't.
So after going to UTEP, dude, you eventually found like your way to Baylor, right? What was that like?
Yeah. It was awesome, man. I mean, I still feel extremely fortunate to be a part of the program here at Baylor. So Baylor, at least, I mean, not anymore. So, but Baylor had several different programs you can apply to, and each program decides what students they accept. And so I applied to the developmental biology program here at Baylor. And I personally, I mean, no offense to the other programs, but I think it's probably the best program here at Baylor. And
that's because you're in it, bro. That's why.
Yeah, that's probably why. but I thought, I mean, I'm still extremely grateful to the selection committee for picking me and giving me the opportunity. I mean, it's been really nice being a part of the Baylor team.
Baylor, dude.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah. Remember when Robert Griffin went to Baylor and they were like legit as fuck?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, a blue over here.
And then he fucking tore his ACL and then he's now the backup for the Ravens.
Oh, wow. He still played?
Yeah, he's still playing. I don't know. That was a sports tangent. I think of that when I think of Baylor. And then I also think about the what was it? The Waco siege.
Oh no, but there's two Baylors. There's Baylor College of Medicine, and then there's Baylor over there by Waco.
Oh, okay. So you're at the one in Houston.
Okay. He's the one part of the smart crew.
Okay, yeah. So he has nothing to do with those two things I previously mentioned. Dude. Nice. Okay,
no.
Cool.
No, so I mean Baylor now. So they like strictly they're trying to, I feel like, get away from Baylor. That's like the college.
They should change the first name.
I know. I mean they
should name it Taylor.
That's why they try to call it BCM. So Baylor College of Medicine. But that's the one here in Texas. So,
nice.
Sorry, here in Houston. They're both
okay. How long you been out there now in H-Town?
About 7 years now.
Okay, nice. Shout out to H-Town. I've been there one time. It's pretty cool. I saw a Rockets and Warriors game there. It was the shit. So
nice.
Shout out to H-Town. So
H-Town?
H-Town. That's what it's called, bro. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I like Houston, but honestly, I kind of miss El Paso. El Paso's.
What do you miss about El Paso, bro?
The people, the weather. I mean, Misa. But no, it's like, I mean, I really do miss the people in El Paso. People in El Paso are awesome. I mean, I feel like you only appreciate it until you're gone. Like, but El Paso is a great place, man. I mean, though I think the weather's pretty nice there too. Like, and the mountains, I really miss El Paso Mountains.
It's fucking cold right now. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Oh yeah,
it's not even that cold, dude.
You're wearing a sweater, Chris.
I know, but hey, it can be a lot.
And you're inside, but it's not cold.
colder. It's not that cold.
Yeah.
I guess
everything, man.
Oh, the sunsets, that's a vibe.
That for sure.
That's
you know what, man?
one.
It took me until like my early 20s to actually like notice how beautiful sunsets we got here in El Paso, bro.
Yeah, the sunsets
Like,
are the
especially after a fat one, dude. Damn, the colors are so much better.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, dude.
All right, so we're coming up on the 35th minute mark here. Let's go ahead and take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk to our boy Josh about fucking genetic engineering. So we shall see.
I don't
how
even
that
know
goes.
where to start with that, dude.
We're also gonna fucking do some 5 random questions with Josh. We'll get our final thoughts at the end. But let's go ahead and take this break. Episode 35, conversing or 35. You see, I did it again.
Wow, 35 or 55.
But you see how I dropped to the
Yes.
34?
Yes.
I did that last time. I don't know. Episode 55, conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Like we said, guys, follow us Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, subscribe. Apple Podcast, rate and review. We're going to take this break and we will be right back. One more time. Yo, what's good? It's your boy Hoodie Chris from Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. I'm here to tell you guys about I Glass. Their link is below. You need to go check them out. I Glass makes handcrafted glass products locally here in the 915. And they range in uses from pipes, decorations, jewelry, pendants, and more. My boy Luis even got himself a goddamn hummingbird, bruh. So make sure you guys go hit up my boy Aaron Lee and tell him that Chris and Misa sent you from the podcast. And go support a local El Paso business today. Let's go. All right, guys, we are back from break. Episode number 55, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Make sure to go follow us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Apple Podcast, rate and review. Episode 55, we have our boy Josh on. Josh, how are you feeling the vibe today, man?
Feeling pretty good, man.
There you go.
I mean, he is at work right now, so.
I mean, dude, he's at work doing a podcast. That's pretty fucking cool. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Getting paid.
Yeah,
to be
hell yeah.
Dude.
Shout out to you, Josh, for being
Shout out
on
to
here
you.
today. Thank you for that. Round of applause.
Thanks for giving me your time, bro.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
We have a member of our live audience today. His name is Blue, and he's been here this whole time. Shout out to Blue.
He is he is that one guy that came up with that whole that told us not to stop doing that whole
The beer. The tradition at the beginning.
that everybody loves. So shout out to you, bro.
Yeah.
This
So,
one's for you.
Misa, I have one thing to tell you and one thing to tell you only, and it sounds like this.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
There
Thanks,
you go.
dude.
Sorry, new soundboard, new sound on the soundboard, so we had to flex, and that was a good time to use it.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you, Chris.
anyways, Josh.
Yeah.
I have in my rundown a note about becoming a genetic engineer. So what the fuck is that?
But, please explain to us original people with like regular IQs.
Okay, so remember how I mentioned before that Dr. Rosas kind of showed me how to like take genes and basically think of them as like Legos. I mean, that is basically what genetic engineering does. It lets you take like little fragments of genes and then assemble them or put them together. Honestly, however you want. I mean, it's like it's the same thing as like with Legos.
What kind of genes do you work with? Do you work with like human genes or like animal or plant? Or like what?
All of the above. So it's so algae, bacteria, human, bird. Trying to think what else.
So can you make like a regular dove, a bird, like as big as an eagle?
No. So, so
This is the Jurassic Park type of
But
shit.
it has to do with like, I mean, if you could change the genes on it, like have like longer legs and like bigger wings, and like instead of like going caca, he could bark or something, you know, like that would be dope. I think that
Bro,
would.
you've watched way too many fucking movies. Dude.
so
This is why I'm not a genetic engineer, dude. Damn.
So, Misa, just I guess to kind of answer your question a little bit, you can do something like that to a certain extent. Like, you can add very specific types of genes that can make animals bigger. So, like, there's this like very specific gene that makes like mighty mice, and like when you give it to them, the mice are like jacked up and bulked up.
Hulk.
The yolk,
Like,
baby.
Yeah, exactly. They're like they're swole mice, and so you can like you can manipulate stuff to a certain extent. I mean, there are plenty of examples where you can like improve. Like it depends on what outcome you want. You can improve things like that.
well, what about like in like human genes? What can you change?
Hold on. Before you ask that, can you describe that mouse again as Swole?
And then he goes like this, like,
That fucking mouse was Swole. That mouse had been at fucking EP Fitness every single fucking day for the past 10
he's
years.
been in your protein juice, dog.
Bro, I have never heard of a mouse being described as swole or swollen. Like he's just yacked. What the fuck?
Dude, I would have all my pets. I would genetically engineer all my pets to be buff like that.
Go ahead and ask that question you were going to ask. I just couldn't let it go, man.
I forgot
you said
what
swole
question
mice, and fuck, man. I've never heard that shit before.
Well, I mean, if you go to a pet store, you can see genetically engineered animals there. I mean, they like there's specifically like the glowfish. Those are genetically engineered.
True.
They have things that they put in them that make them glow.
Nice.
So.
Damn.
So now we're modifying fish for money. Great.
They should do that on criminals, dude.
I love it, dude. America. We'll even change our fucking fish. We don't care.
Dude,
Fuck
they
you
should do
guys.
that on criminals. Like make them like after a certain amount of like, yeah, dude. Like if like let's say somebody is like has been arrested for theft so many times. It's like, sorry, bro, but you're getting this like genetically like shit, and like you're at night you're gonna glow. It's just so we could keep a fucking eye on you. You know you see this guy walking around your car after 10 p.m., dude, you need to call the cops.
So Misa, they actually used to do that.
What?
Yeah, so they used to do research on prisoners. I think this. So, man, I hope I'm not misquoting this, but
Was it volunteer? That's what I want to know.
no.
No,
You're a prisoner, dude. Why would it be volunteer?
Yeah, and I think it was, man, I hope I don't get like assassinated for this, but I think it was like Johnson & Johnson was the company that did it. There's this book. It's called 1,000 Acres of Skin.
1,000 Acres of Skin. Blue, can you write that down, please? Thanks.
And it's about the experiments they conducted on prisoners for Johnson & Johnson, like to look at different chemicals on skin.
And people are still getting cancer off of that shit.
And so the reason why it's called 1,000 Acres of Skin is because the lead research scientist on there said that like prisons were 1,000 acres of like experimental skin, like, because the prisoners is just like crazy.
You know what? I wouldn't mind that. Like, hey, maybe it will stop people from like committing crimes if you tell them, hey, if you go to jail, you lose your right and you're gonna be summoned to like some fucking experiments.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's crazy because it's not even that old. I think it was like 70s or 80s. I mean, or maybe, man, I'm old. That was a while back.
But what's the biggest thing though? Like when it comes to genetic engineering and in the human process, like what can somebody change on that? Like, how is that being used a lot nowadays?
So there was a big case where a researcher in China, he modified genetic embryos, and so he modified embryos with this system called CRISPR-Cas9. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Yeah, super familiar. Yes.
Yeah. Well, so it's actually like a revolutionary technical tool. It's a genetic tool that lets us modify any genome we want. And the reason why that's one of the main reasons why it was also so I guess revolutionary wasn't because it can modify the genome, because we've been able to do that for a very long time now. But it allows you to modify the genome super fast and super cheap. And so like almost any research lab, I mean, can do it. It doesn't like it costs like $65 to get the plasmid. All you need to know is obviously to have the knowledge to do it. But
what kind of like modifications are they doing on these?
So it was very controversial. I mean, it was condemned by like the international scientific community. But what he wanted to do was he modified a very specific receptor that we have that allows for HIV, the virus, to bind to us. And so he basically made it so that that virus can't bind those kids. And so those kids are like protected from HIV for like their whole life. But the reason why it's controversial is because now those
Natural.
kids, huh?
Natural.
No. It's because those kids are going to carry that mutation forever, and they pass it on to their kids. And so, one thing is to modify it. Like for example, some of the viruses we make here, we have the dream is to make them or inject them into, for example, someone's brain or to make a modification in your body. But like if it's damaging, for example, that's one person that gets damaged. Like I'm not going to pass that on to my kids.
Right.
But that modification that he did, it will be passed to any offspring.
But I mean, his modification was so they won't ever get the HIV virus, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing with the problem with, in my opinion, with genetic engineering is every day we find new kind of functions for genes. And so let's say that receptor is important for HIV, but it might also be important, let's say, for brain development, right? And so if you modify it, what if it makes your kid, like with...
There's always a cause and effect for it.
Yeah, and so there's things we don't fully understand, and I think kind of he kind of threw caution to the wind. And so,
Dude, I've always wondered for the longest time. I was like your job. Like, do you just get like a random call someday and be like, "Yo, we need this virus right now," and you're like, "I got it, sir." Then you wake up and get ready, and then go to the lab and then make it, and then that's it.
yeah.
That's literally how it is.
Dude, that's
it's not a call. So we have a website, and you can go onto the website and make a virus request. And so you put your virus, the type of virus you want, the type of gene you want expressed, and then if I see a problem with it, I call you up for a consultation. I tell you why you can't do it. But most of the time, it's pretty streamlined, and then you get your virus in 2 weeks.
But what are these viruses that you usually like get asked to make?
So we use, most of the time, we just use viruses as vehicles. And so these vehicles allow the experimenter, the researcher, to deliver any kind of genetic payload to their tissue or cell type of interest. And so, for example, this might be like a dumb example, but let's say I have something that is genetic that's making my tongue numb. And so a researcher is like, well, I want to correct that, and I know what is making his tongue numb. And so I'm just going to like inject his tongue with the virus that's carrying that genetic defect that he has to fix it. And then it replaces it, and it restores my tongue function. Also,
Shit right there, bro.
Dude, I'm so glad that we're recording this shit just so like, because I know I'll forget by the time I get home tonight.
yeah.
But like tomorrow I could wake up and like, what did Josh say again about genetic engineering?
Yeah. And so for example, I'm in an academic setting. It's not like commercialized, industrialized. And so in academic settings, especially when you like are doing animal models, like we do a lot of research in mice. In mice specifically, it's not always to repair something. So my background is not just in like microbiology and viruses. My entire PhD has been in neuroscience and understanding brain circuits. And so with these viruses, we can manipulate neurons, and we can kind of make them do whatever we want. And so it's kind of like an electrical circuit. And so if you have, let's say this connects to, like A connects to B, right? we can manipulate A with these viruses and see the kind of effect that it has on part B. And so we can increase the activity, we can decrease the activity, we can just see how it's connected. So we can look at the neural innervation of an area. And so we honestly, it allows us to just use them as vehicles for us to manipulate them however we want. And so the pipeline.
And I'm over here playing Warzone and shit, worrying about like where the fuck is this guy I'm trying to kill hiding at? You know.
No,
do you guys
go ahead, sir.
Do you guys do any any work or research that's related to COVID?
So our lab does not. No.
But speaking of COVID, do you think COVID is man-made? Do you think it could have been man-made, or do you think it's just something natural? Like, can I, like, if I had the smarts and I went to Baylor Medical School, you know, like, can I would have made COVID as a virus?
So, do I think COVID's man-made? Honestly, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Can we ever make something like COVID? I think so, but I mean, whoever did something like that, it's gotta be absolutely dumb, because it's like you shut down the entire planet. I mean,
but I mean that could be some evil guys, like the next Hitler's plan, you know, like fuck all these guys. I can't even go to the park by myself.
That's true. But for me, the reason, even if, let's say, COVID was manufactured or something, I think its release was probably just like out of like negligence or something. Like maybe somebody, like, for example, because okay, when we try to, like, for example, when I worked with Dr. Rosas Acosta, right, we studied influenza. Sometimes the model
that's the Spanish flu, right?
Yeah, that's one. Spanish flu is one strain of influenza, but it was 1918. So we get flu like every year, and it's a new variant of it.
So it's a new flu every year.
Every year, yeah. That's why you have to take the flu shot every year. A new one. It's because it's the new strain every year.
Did you know that, Chris?
Yep.
I thought it was the same one the whole time.
Nope.
No.
It's a new motherfucker every year. They show up at your door, they're like knocking. They're like, "Hey, what's up? Did flu back from last year?
It's my cousin. I'm the flu's cousin."
Yeah, I mean, some people can get away with not taking flu shots, but I mean, some people, you know,
exactly.
Okay, so what were you saying?
So, for example, like we as like researchers, we try to find solutions to problems, and so a problem, let's say, is influenza. So we tried to find ways to study influenza, and we try to find different models for it. And so if we are, like, for example, if we weren't able to find like a good model for influenza, then we'd have to try to adapt that influenza to our particular model. And so the only way that I could think that coronavirus was maybe like adapted to humans in a research lab would have been if, like, you took like someone like me who was trying to understand how coronaviruses infect, because this coronavirus is not the only one that's existed. Like, we've had several, like SARS was
COVID-13, COVID-15, 16.
MERS, yeah. But someone like me who wants to understand the virus, like, will try to adapt it to maybe something like cell lines. So we do things in like little dishes, and we look at progression of the virus. The only way that you
think it's like if it was man-made, it was accidentally like
if we ever figure out that corona was man-made, it's probably some idiot like me who was trying to do something good, and then one of his like students or techs accidentally like sipped a little juice from the dish. Got the stick, didn't tell everyone.
But what are the odds though? What are the odds of that happening?
Hold on. So you're telling me that you have the ability and possibility of actually fucking up so bad that you can create a global pandemic, right?
Who, me? I mean, not me.
Not you per se, but somebody in your field could do something like that,
dude,
right?
Definitely.
So I mean, it is.
That's not good because that's not good. I'm just saying that's not good.
Huh? Yeah, it's difficult to fuck up because I mean, a lot of this stuff is highly regulated, and people usually are pretty cautious, especially with something as infectious as coronavirus. I mean, there's like one of the biggest virus research labs is in Wuhan.
Oh,
where, like,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Bro, new conspiracy started right here in the Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast.
So yeah, like one of the biggest research institutions in the world on viruses specifically is in Wuhan, and so
I had no idea that was a thing, dude.
Well, but it makes sense because they have like. That's where like the epicenter of outbreaks is over there in China because they eat a bunch of crazy shit. They don't have regulation on like their food and like that's how these viruses get passed over to humans, you know?
Yeah, so a lot of human animal contact and I mean, if you live around a lot of animals and those animals get sick, then all it takes is for one variation of that virus to have the necessary tools to infect you to now it be like human specific.
Yep. I think that's the source of all of this to me.
Yeah.
Somebody
happens with animals.
Somebody ate some fucking random ass snake or rodent and then boom, COVID-19.
Is there like a golden idea, like the main idea for like all these genetic engineers to like their master plan or like the main thing to look up to create or do?
Yeah, so honestly, it's so I have a friend here at Baylor. I think he's super smart. I'm not gonna blast him right now. I'll just keep his name private. But his main goal, honestly, is he's like one of the smartest people I've ever met, and his main goal is just to try to understand disease. So he goes around, kind of breaks things, and then tries to see how he broke it, and like genetically, right? And then honestly, it's really beneficial for us to be able to understand how some of these diseases progress and how they like form initially. And I mean, that's his main agenda.
That's like a kind of like ambition and like goal that you have to save the whole damn world.
Yeah. So
know what I mean? Like
basically his ambition is like to just try to contribute as much knowledge as you can. That's his goal.
Is that your same ambition?
My ambition, I'd say is very similar. But mine is not just to contribute as much knowledge, but I would want to keep pushing, I guess, the limit of like humanity. Like,
hey, there you go.
So
that's why you're my friend.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's like, for example, I mean, we do a lot of research in mice, and we do a lot of therapy. But for me, I want to start doing more things in humans and try to kind of push the envelope there. But I mean, you also have to be careful because, you know, you can't mess up. And so
we got our boy Josh over here trying to make people live a better life, and we're over here just trying to make them laugh. But at the same time, that's all positiveness, man. I love it.
Yeah, but for me, I don't just have an interest in like biomedical stuff. Like I also have like a weird hobby in like plants.
Hey.
Yeah, and so I actually love plants, and right now I want to like try to develop different like tools for plants and like improve how we like grow plants, like basically raise them and the different conditions that we raise them in. And so
would you consider yourself to have a green thumb?
Actually, right now, yeah, we have a little garden.
Nice.
Hey, there you go, dude.
Yeah, I'm a green thumb guy too.
You lit that shit on fire, though, dude. That's the difference.
No, I'm just a green thumb guy. That's it. That's all I need to say.
Back that shit down. That's funny.
That's good, dude. What else? Like, besides fucking I forgot what like the actual like professional word for a grower of plants is.
Grower?
No, there's like
a nursery. A farmer.
No, there's
it's
like
a farmer.
fucking,
there you go.
No, there's a professional, bro. Yes, that one. Say it.
Horticulturist.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey.
Okay.
Horticulturist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but what else? Like, are you into sports? What sports do you like?
Oh man, no. I'm
No? He said,
terrible.
"Nah, man, hell no."
No.
So,
Next question.
Yeah, no, because it sucks because my boss here is super into sports, and
True.
so one of the very first questions that he asked me when I joined was he comes up to me, he was super excited. He's like, "Yo, Ortiz, are you into sports, man? Do you like football? Do you watch football? Are you a football fan?" And I'm like, not really. And he's like,
You're fired.
he just walked away.
Oh,
That shit's
hey,
real.
dude. Like sports. Hey, don't mess with sports, Josh.
Okay, so what do you like? You like music? Like what else? What else?
Dude. Other than like school, what other stuff do you like?
Other than making a virus that will like infect somebody, like what else can you do? I mean, if you can make a virus, like I'm sure there's a lot of other cool shit you can do.
I mean, I cook a lot.
Hey, there you go.
I love cooking. I think if I wasn't a scientist, I would try to go to culinary school. I like traveling. I'm a diver.
There you go.
My scuba diving license. Let me see what else. I mean, I don't like watching sports, but I do like playing it.
Hey.
Even though I suck at soccer, I play.
Hey, there you go.
And so, let me see. I do rock climbing here as well.
Ay, way. Hey, hold on. We might have to edit this out, but I need to go empty out the tank real quick.
Okay.
Lisa's gonna go take a piss.
Okay.
Look at you. All right, so while Misa pisses, what's the worst story you have about this fucking guy?
About Misa?
Yeah, just the worst. The one that's gonna make him look the worst.
I mean, it doesn't make him look bad.
Anything you got?
Okay, so I think I mentioned this before, but him and my brother, they really pressured me to go out partying with them. But I always had to wake up and be at work at 6:30 when I worked at Fort Bliss, and so I told them I could party with them as long as they took me to work the next day. And so we got home at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, bad idea. Off the bat. Yep.
And we were super tired, but I always wake up on time. And so I woke them both up and told them to take me to work. And then they took me to work, but when they dropped me off, they called me like 20 minutes later. They had driven off a cliff because they like on Trans Mountain because they fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh hell yeah! No, hell yeah! Hold on. Hey,
Oh God! What
She's back. Nothing. Hey, dude. Okay, so
that wasn't me, dude. What the fuck?
Episode 55, conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast.
No.
This pod.
No.
Misa can't control his bladder, so he missed the
Where's
story.
this coming from?
So,
are you talking about that time?
No, we're not talking about no time. We don't have time to talk about time or anything. So,
whatever.
Okay, Josh.
I know the truth.
Yeah. Okay, Josh. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to wrap up this podcast.
No, wait. But before we do, Before we do, let's do this 5 random questions. How about that?
Yes. How about that?
Yes. So, guys, 5 random questions. It's a fan favorite. Y'all know it's a 5 random questions here at the Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast, hosted by your boy Chris Marcus. Chris, take it away.
What is up, guys? We are back. 5 random motherfucking questions. Are you guys ready for this, boys? Misa, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Josh, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Blue, are you ready? He's ready. Okay, Josh.
Yeah.
Question number Uno. Are you ready for this? Dude, you know what? Hold on, Misa. He said he's ready, but he doesn't look ready. And you know,
I don't think you're ready.
I'm not ready. That's what it was. Okay, question number 1.
All right.
What is your all-time favorite Christmas song?
Ooh, man. That's a tough one, man. I'm not too sure.
But you don't like the what's it called?
The Mariah Carey?
Rocking Around the Christmas tree. Yeah, that's a hit, bro. You know what I mean?
Actually,
or Silent Night. Oh, yeah, that's a hit.
No,
it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Frosty the Snowman.
There you go.
It honestly probably is Rocking Around a Christmas Tree.
Hey.
Okay,
It reminds me too much of Home Alone, man, and I love that movie.
Hey, that's a good movie, man.
That's the best Christmas movie ever, dude.
I would love to be reminded of Home Alone every single day. Great movie.
Exactly.
Macaulay Culkin, I hope you're doing well, brother. That's all I got to say.
Hit us up, dog. I know you're listening.
Question number 2.
All right.
Do you fuck with Little Dicky?
I don't know who Little Dicky is. Man.
You don't know who Little Dicky is?
No, I don't.
My God. God.
I know.
Okay, after this, after the podcast, you have to promise me one thing and one thing only.
You're gonna blast Little Dicky.
You will go and blast Little Dicky in front of all your coworkers.
While they're making
at the
viruses.
highest decibel volume that you can.
Yeah.
Can you promise me that, Josh?
I actually.
Even if you're gonna lie to me, just say yes.
Oh no, I'll do it and I'll film it.
Hey, there we go.
Film it. We'll put it on the podcast page.
Okay.
Question number 3, Josh.
What's up?
Is bottled water the same as tap water?
Probably basically is, dude. By the time you drink it, it probably is.
All right, breaking news. Hold on. Bottled water and tap water are the same water. Don't let the world fool you.
That's
you
right.
Fucks.
Get it for free at your sink.
Dude, that's some of the cleanest water, actually.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
For sure.
I've seen some other places where the water is hard as fuck.
Dude, me and Blue lived in San Antonio for about a year, and we would try and get some water off the sink, bro, and it was foggy as fuck. And then everybody, like all our friends that were there that lived there, would tell them, dude, this shit's fucking dirty, and they'd be surprised. They'd never seen any like clean, clear water before. And I was like, dude, go to fucking El Paso, dude.
Yeah.
Go to El Paso, get some water.
The water in Houston tastes like crap.
Hey,
it tastes like crap? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No, people are like, tap water? I'm like
they give you the option for tap water. Some people maybe just like the taste of tap water. Just like Chris likes the taste of tequila, you nasty motherfucker.
No, tequila's good.
You see what I mean, dude? No, dude, that's something gross.
Question number 4, Joshua.
What's up?
Who would you rather wake up next to in bed, Steve-O or Michael Jackson?
Oh,
that's a tough one, man. Let me see.
Okay, go ahead and answer it. We'll wait.
This is Steve-O from Jackass, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, honestly, probably Steve-O.
Hey,
good answer. I like
that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, maybe you guys just had nowhere else to sleep, so you slept in the same bed. That's fine.
No, see, the thing is like even if like you don't know what happened the night before, I'd rather wake up next to Steve-O and Steve-O be like, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta take this A-ball, brother. Yeah.
Then like someone like,
hey, that was a great visual. I like that.
Exactly.
Okay, question number 5. 5 random questions. The last one. Speaking about waking up, the best part of waking up is, Josh?
he did
it. Yes, sir. That's why we brought you on this podcast for one reason and one reason only. And it was to answer that question right. And you fucking did it. Hell yes.
Another round of applause for Josh. Josh, number one, dude. Number one guest.
Josh.
You got your mama smile, but you just said this child to me.
Oh, shit. All right, guys. So let's wrap up this podcast so our boy Josh can get back to work.
Yes, sir.
Episode 55, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Let's go around. The podcast?
The podcast.
The podcast.
Oh,
it's a podcast.
So many Bud Lights in the system right there.
Podcast. Okay,
There it
so
is.
let's go around the virtual Zoom meeting and let's give our final thoughts on today's episode.
I'm still dancing, dude. I don't know why. I'm still going with that.
Dude.
With this.
Oh. Yes, sir. Okay. It's lit. Okay. So, final thoughts, guys. Let's start off with Misa. Final thoughts on today's podcast.
Dude, yes, Josh, bro. Fuck, man. I missed you, man, for a very long time. I love you, dude. It's good seeing you. I'm so glad. I mean, like how we talked, everybody listening, how you guys heard us of how we were when we first met, the struggles that we're going through, and seeing us where we're at now, and seeing you where you're doing right now, making viruses and genetic engineering. I don't, dude, all the shit that you say, I still don't even get it. But, dude, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad that you're doing fine. Shout out to you, brother, Junior. I love you, man. And to your mom, dude, to your mom. I love your mom. I hope she's doing fine. And everybody listening, thank you for supporting us. We really, really appreciate it. Y'all make sure to stay safe and stay fresh.
Hey, there you go. Mr. Joshua.
Yeah.
Have your final thoughts on today's podcast.
Dude, it was honestly, thank you so much for inviting me. It was a blast. And it was great catching up with Misa. And, dude, Chris, thanks for being such a great host too, man. It was a lot of fun reminiscing and letting you guys honestly just let me talk. give my opinions.
You're an interesting guy, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what's up. We really do appreciate it. We really do appreciate you coming on for sure. Like I said, we can't thank you enough for that. So shout out to Josh for that. One more round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
Woo! Take off your shirt.
Show me the titties. So with all that being said, episode 55, final thoughts. Josh, this was a good one. Shout out to H-Town. Shout out to coming in the Zoom call with us.
Shout out to Blue.
Shout out to Blue for being our live audience today. Misa, another good episode in the books. And like I said, guys, Conversing with Chris and Misa, the podcast. Follow, like, subscribe. You already know what to fucking do. There's Blue's hand. And with all that being said, guys, we